What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach T with Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T and Swifty back with another live video on y'all. Listen, it's been a while, right? It's been a couple weeks since the draft. Coach T was a little bit absentee, taking care of some family business and whatnots, man. Plus, we had Mother's Day. And guess what? I got to take care of the queen on Mother's Day, man. Can't be doing no live videos because guess what? Mama come first, bro. It's just like that. But listen, we got a great show for you today. We're going to have Swifty on a little bit later, but we have a great show for today. Today, we're going to talk about the new look Bears. We're going to talk about the draft because we hadn't had a chance to get into that since the draft has happened. Talk about the new look Bears. We're going to talk about how they fit into the system, right? And then we're going to get into a little bit of the new Bears schedule has been put out. We're going to talk about, I'll give you my win-loss prediction on the new Bears schedule. And we're just going to get into it, man. Did I forget something? System fits, Bears schedule. And then we're going to talk about, we'll see if we got some drunk uncles out there for y'all. So y'all know how I go, man. Stay tuned, buckle up. Listen, if you're in the comment section, right, if you're watching this on the playback, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you come in the chat, man, do me a favor, run those likes up so we can get the algorithm busting, man, like that. And we just going to jump straight into it, man. So y'all know what's next. Let's cue the intro maestro.
Welcome to Chicago Bears 360. Keeping it a buck with Coach T.
Contra.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
Time. And so that's what happened when you do a live YouTube show. Sometimes you forget to hit the unmute button. So I'm then gonna go back and edit all that out. But welcome to the live, man. Coach is back, right? It's been a couple week hiatus, man. Listen, we had 3 days of NFL draft coverage where we had some technical difficulties, man. And I was able to reach out to our vendor and fix the technical difficulties we were having as far as our storage issues. And then we had Mother's Day, man. I had to show my queen some love, bro. So it wasn't going to be no Chicago Bears 360 live on Mother's Day, man. So do me a favor. If you are in the comment section, man, do me a favor. Don't forget to like. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit the notification bell, bro. And then also, if you don't follow me on Twitter, man, tap in on Twitter, bro. I'm live tweeting throughout the week, bro. We mixing it up, man. So that's how it is, bro. When you take time off, Bears Truth 9, that's how it is, man. You get out of rhythm with this whole, you know what I'm saying, live video thing, man. I'm just not only the narrator, but I'm also the executive producer and producer of the show. It just goes like that sometimes. So we have a good show for you today, bro. I'm going to talk about the new look Bears, bro. All these new players we got, where we're going to break them down, talk about the system fits, and then we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the Bears schedule and Bears releasing the schedule. I'm going to give you my win-loss prediction. We're going to break that down and the why. And then if we have some time, man, we'll get into some of the drunk uncle tweets or something like that. We'll talk about some of the stuff we're seeing out there on Bears social media and whatnot, man. So listen, thank you for joining the show, man. Tune in, and we're going to get into it, man. But listen, real quick, let's transition, man. Let's give a quick shout out to, bro, our field soldiers, man. Shout out to the field soldiers. Those are all the people that have subscribed to the channel, the 825 or so of you guys that have subscribed to the channel. Listen, thank you for the support. It's not about the subs for me, bro. This is a passion project. I'm a Chicago Bears fan first, and then the football coach and a bunch of other stuff later on, man. So shout out to you guys, man. Thanks for joining the channel. Let me get my content up real fast so we can shout you guys out. Listen, it's been a couple weeks, not a whole lot of new subscribers, but I want to give a shout out to the people that have subscribed. Don't copy my style. Shout out to you for subscribing to the channel. Let's see who else we got here. Jay Duvon. I don't want to mispronounce the name. Jarrett Laducour. I don't want to mispronounce the name, but shout out to you. I made my best attempt right there. Rico Pesos, thanks for joining Field Soldiers. Who else we got? Robert Schwartz, G Money 954, Eric Price, new subscriber with no name, Garland Stapleton. Thanks for subscribing to the channel, man. I think that's all it. That's it. All of our Field Soldiers, the new subscribers since our last show. Again, shout out to you. Listen, if you want to be a part of Field Soldiers, do me a favor. You're watching this on a replay. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's been a couple weeks, man. Coach T kind of rusty on this, but guess what? I'm going to get back in the saddle, and we're going to make this thing happen. So, how y'all feeling, Bears fans out there? Since the draft, man, let's talk about it. I hadn't had a chance to go into it in depth, but Ryan Poles turns 5 or 6 picks into 11 picks. By the way, I like that number. 11 is my favorite number. It's my lucky number, by the way. So I like that number. It's a good sign to me personally, right? And I think it's a good sign of things to come for the Bears, right? The Bears organization. And I think what we need to realize and what we need to keep in mind, and I struggle with this sometime myself, right? We need to keep this in mind as Bears fans, kind of throughout the offseason and as we get into the season, right? We can't get caught up in the emoticons, right? In the tweets of Bear Twitter and Bear social media, right? In the negative narratives that's being put out there, because this is something foreign to Bears fans. The approach that this kind of regime is taking is foreign to Bears fans. Why? Because in times past, we've had GMs that didn't necessarily do the work, right? They didn't put in the work as far as scouting is concerned and the deep vetted research required for you to build a franchise from the ground up. So I like the fact that Ryan Poles traded back. I thought he was going to do a little bit of trading back earlier, right? So maybe with that, the second pick we had, number 48 in the second round, that he was going to start trading back there, but he chose to take, Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker first with those 2 second-round picks we had, and then start trading back after the Velus Jones Jr. pick, right? So to turn those 6 picks into 11 picks. Listen, that's how you build a franchise from the inside out, right? And so what I've been saying in the quote that I've been kind of trying to evangelize out there is the system is going to be the star, man. The system is going to be the star in this new system. So in times past, you have regimes, and I think it's the bad regimes that do this, right? They focus on getting name brand players, right? Big signings, people that's going to get the fans excited, but don't necessarily equate to production on the field. That's a challenge, right? In times past that we had, right? We want these big name signings. We want these marquee names and players that's going to come in and perhaps, be pre-bananas and come in demanding all this attention and all this other stuff, when we forget the fact that we have to get 53 guys to come together, right, and form a football team, a complete football team, offense, defense, and special teams, right? We have to have a coaching staff of guys that can come in, and when our coaching staff can actually coach them to become better players, right? So the reason why I say the system is the star is I believe and I've said this in previous videos, I believe the great franchises out there, like the New Englands and God forbid the old Packers regimes of old, they would come in and form a system that you drafted players into, and you develop those players. And those players are 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th rounders who may not have been marquee names. And you give them 1 or 2 jobs to do, and you say, hey, guys, listen, you're going to be a specialist. You're going to specialize in this within this system. And within that system, you're going to be a star. Another thing I want to remind you guys of is something that I've been quoting for the longest is the quote from Sean McVay that says, listen, only about 4 to 8 guys, 4 to 6, or between 4 to 8 guys on any team are system agnostic guys, meaning guys that can come in any system and you can plug and play them, and that guy is going to thrive. Most guys are system guys. Do you think Tom Brady would be as successful outside of the system that he's played in for over 20 years, right? He played under Josh McDaniels in New England, and then he took the system that he had learned, that he had mastered, and took it to Tampa Bay and actually continued his success, and in some cases became a better player, because actually down in Tampa Bay, they allowed him to bring in better players and have more talent around him within that system. So he became like a coach on the field. System guys like that, they focus and they become experts of the system. And then you have guys that system agnostic. And I can't think of anybody right now, but let's say like a cornerback or somebody that, he can play covers 1 through 4, right? He can play man coverage. He can play cover 2. He can play in zone. And you can just, you know what I'm saying? If I had to think of somebody old school, I would say like Deion Sanders, right? Somebody that it don't matter. Now, Deion would specialize in man-to-man coverage, but Deion could thrive in a zone scheme as well. Y'all get what I'm saying, right? System agnostic versus system guys. Those are the agnostic guys are the guys you're going to get that should be first rounders. Those guys are rare. They're rare hits, right? But if you kind of focus on being, doing the work, doing the research, having your scouts go out there and find guys, you decide on the system first, and then have your scouts focus on finding a guy or two that will fit your system and what you want to do specifically, then I think it's a better situation for long-term success. And I believe that's where we're headed, right? The system is the star. The system is the star. Put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. The system is the star in the chat, man. So, yeah, we're going to get into it, man. I'm going to do some shifting right here real fast. We're gonna get into it, but I believe, again, the system for us is going to be the star, and that's going to allow us to thrive and have some longevity into what we do as a Bears organization, man, and have us have some long-term sustainability. And keep in mind, man, this is not going to be instant, bro. I want y'all to keep focused on the fact, and don't get distracted by the fact that, I'm thinking that this is going to be something instant that happens overnight. Again, it takes time to develop a football team and to make 53 guys come together as one mind, one spirit, and all on the same sheet of music and playing for one another with passion and sacrificing their bodies and so on and so forth. It's all part of it, man. But I think it's going to take a time, but I think it's the right approach, man. It's the right approach. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'm going to get into this real fast. We're going to start out with your boy Kyler Gordon, our first pick in this year's draft. I think, again, this is a great example of what the Bears should have been doing and will be doing in the future. And the reason why it's evident is Kyler Gordon was taken, and there were faster guys, like guys that had better 40s in the latter part of the draft that were already out there and available, right? There were guys that were out there that had faster 40s, but again, do you need your starting cornerback to be a 4-3 guy, 4-2 guy? It helps to have a guy that's a cornerback that can have speed like that. But let's talk about, and this is why this show is kind of exceptional, right? Let's talk about the system fit, specifically what he's going to be required to do in a Tampa 2 defense, not to be confused with a cover 2 defense, but it's going to be a Tampa 2 defense, which could be cover 2 man and cover 2 zone, right? The emphasis is on him being big and physical in this Tampa 2 defense, right? And being able to hold up and actually tackle, run to the ball, tackle, make plays on the ball, cause turnovers, and being physical, right? Not so much focuses on being a speed guy that can play cover 1 or man coverage and cover 3. I mean, man coverage and cover 3. So somebody that's not so much focused on man coverage and cover 3, but somebody that you can bring in that can play a lot of cover two man, cover two zone. Why is that important? Because he's always going to have a safety over the top of him, right? So he doesn't have to worry about so much getting burnt deep because the Tampa 2 is always going to have, whether it's cover two man or cover two zone, he's going to have a safety over the top. He's going to have safety help over the top. So then what should he focus on? He should focus on the ability to be able to be physical. So even in cover two zone, you can go bump and run in cover two zone or cover two man, but that intermediate passing game and everything that happens, because there's going to be help over the top, then the teams are going to try and tack them in a intermediate game, right? 5 to 10 yards, hitches, digs, quick screens, stuff like that. They're going to try and get the underneath stuff. So the emphasis then is going to be him being able to come up, be physical, and tackle, right? Make hits, eliminate yak, right? Stuff like that. Run of the ball and be a physical player. So I believe Kyler Gordon has those tools, and he's going to excel in this system and his ability to be able to execute what's required of him in that system, right? So I think, this is a good pickup for this system. Now, if I was running a primary man coverage system or cover three system, I wouldn't want him, right? It's kind of like, I'll give you a great comparison. Kyle Fuller was a better cover two or cover two man or cover two zone type of corner as well, right? Kyle Fuller wasn't the greatest man coverage guy either. He was a better fit for the system, kind of like the one we have. Also, LFG, Larry Graham Jr. Larry, is it Larry Graham Jr.? The standout against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the corner that came in and substituted for our players that had COVID. He's not a great man and cover three guy, right? Because you have to run with guys, right? You have to run and cover guys in that system. But you'll see he's going to excel in a Tampa 2 system where he's going to predominantly have a lot of safety help over the top. That's what that system kind of does, and allows guys to play within the box or within the intermediate 5 to 10 yards of the line of scrimmage and just be fast, be physical, not a whole lot of thinking, just run and hit. Just run and hit, man. So that's my thoughts on Kyler Gordon. The next guy we're going to get into, Kyler Gordon. Yes, I said that right. Next guy we're going to get into, and I know I'm kind of rushing, but we're going to get into what I think and what many are saying is potentially the steal of the draft. Let me get this queued up real fast here. What many are saying is the steal of the draft. We're going to break this down. Jaquan Brisker, man. Listen, I've had a couple weeks to just digest, who this kid is and what he does on the football field. And all I got to say is wow. And the crazy thing is, when you really think about it, not comparing the two, but when you're thinking about it, the fact that Kyler Gordon went before Brisker lets you know how good in this system Kyler Gordon will be, right? In this system, Kyler Gordon will be. Because when you put on the Jaquan Brisker film, the tape, I think this kid has the ability to be one of the greats, man. And when I say that, that's without exaggeration. His play reminds me of he's already given him a moniker, man. This dude is an eraser. He's an eraser. He looks like and he plays like he loves football. One, right? But what I've said about Brisker is this: he's one of those guys that just doesn't know his assignment on the football field. He seems like one of those guys that can get everybody else in the right position, meaning a guy that's going to be a leader on the back end, a captain of the secondary that's going to make sure that not just the safeties are lined up correctly and they're getting the calls, the cornerbacks, right? But you'll see times where Jaquan comes up and actually plays in the block like a Will or Sam linebacker in sub packages like 11 personnel packages where, if we had a diversity, right? We have the guys that we brought in, Dane Shump, what's his name, Cruikshank, right? Guys like that. We have Thomas Graham Jr., guys that can cover nickel, right? When teams go to sub packages, right? And this is when you actually talk about scheme, right? Because I hear a lot of people use the word scheme loosely, and scheme is not the general defense that you play. Scheme is how you use personnel to take advantage of down and distance situations, right? So a guy like Brisker is going to be a scheme, not a system guy. He's going to make scheming as a defensive coordinator fun, right? So say for instance, a team goes in and they have sub packages, 11 personnel, or they go empty formations, right? 5 wide, no backs in the game. It's hard to match up for teams that only are 1 or 2 cornerbacks deep. It's hard for them to match up, player for player, talent for time. Because if a team has 5 good wide receivers, imagine how deep you go with your cornerbacks, with guys that can cover, guys that can hit, all that's required for them to still be able to play good defense, right? That's 5 wide. But go to contrary. What happens when teams go 12 personnel, right? And they have a little bit more beef in the formation, and they got you on your heels as a defensive coordinator, and you don't know, hey, man, listen, throw anything at us right now. They can go run, they can go pass, they can go play action. Having a safety that can come down in the box, right? When you're in the small, say you're in the sub package, right? They're in a 12, say they're in 12 personnel, right? But say you get caught in a nickel defense, having a physical safety that can come in down in the box and play like a linebacker is critical. It is critical. And when I say our guy is an eraser, this man does not play or play games in the box at all. You know what I'm saying? He gets it done. He comes down and will lay a lick on people. He will make his presence felt in most situations, even in the box. And God forbid if you're somebody that's going over the top, going over the middle, trying to make a play over the middle, this is a guy that's going to lay the boom on you. He kind of reminds me of a taller, lankier Dawkins out of Philadelphia, man. Dude is always around the ball and always on the field. Look at that hit right there. That's crazy, bro. Like, you need a guy that's going to send a message like that and just let jokers know, look, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. You think you're going to run the ball? You think I'm going to be physical? I'm going to smack people in the mouth. I'm going to let people know. I'm going to make my presence felt. And I like this. I can't wait to see him play, man. So shout out to Jaquan Brisker, man. I think it's a great pickup. I think, he's going to, both of these guys, him and Gordon, are going to make our defense exceptional, especially when we have to face that team up north who they like to throw the ball, right? They like to put themselves in a situation where, number 12 up there, he gets his, right? He gets his yards. So what's going to be an interesting matchup now is we got better on defense, but Devontae Adams is there no longer, and they're working with a rookie, quote-unquote, star wide receiver, right? So it's going to be interesting. When I get into the schedule and my prediction, we're going to see how that goes, man. But our next guy, man, is Velus Jones Jr., right? He's our third pick in the draft. And I'm intrigued by Mr. Jones. I'm intrigued by Velus Jones Jr. at that pick. Now, let's be honest. We all thought that we were probably going to go wide receiver and potential offensive tackle with the first 2 picks, right? And Ryan Poles, we just didn't have a guy, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have a guy like Velus to keep defensive coordinators honest, opposite of Darnell Mooney, right? And go back to the X's and O's and how I describe it. I'm beginning to break this down when I start, building the playbook next week, right? Goes back to what I always say. Just like our Tampa 2 defense that we were going to play, we're doing it voluntarily, right? We're voluntarily keeping 2 safety backs, and we're going to try and play good defense with our front 7, right? We're going to stop the run with our front 7, and we're going to play good pass coverage with our front 7, right? The other teams out there, they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They might have the personnel where they feel like they have to play primarily man coverage and cover 3. They aren't strong enough in their front 7, so they need an 8th man in the box, right? That 8th man in the box forces them to play single high safety, cover 1 man or cover 3, right? That forces an additional man in the box, 8, to stop the run, right? So you put them in the compromise. If they have 8 men in the box and a single high safety, then if you got speed on the outside, you can go off, right? You can snap. So even if Velus is trash, what I don't believe he is, right? Even if he's trash, you still have a big body speedster, right, that you can line up at the X or the Z, even in the slot. But particularly in this situation, in this case that I'm describing, you can line a guy up at the X or the Z, and it's going to force teams into 2 high safety, right? Now, I'm going to see how much y'all paying attention, or how much y'all paid attention over the weeks, right? So get your thinking caps on. If I force 2 teams into 2 high safety looks, if I force teams into 2 high safety looks, what happens? How does that affect the rest of the game, the offensive game, or the rest of the offense? That's the question for the chat. If I force teams into 2 high safety looks, what does that do for the rest of the offense? I'll give y'all a minute to think about answering the chat, right, while I'm making my adjustments here. I wish I had the little theme, the little Jeopardy theme music I could play while y'all thinking about that. If I force teams, right, into 2 high safety looks, what does that do for the rest of the offense? What does that do for the rest of the offense? Don't y'all answer all at once. If y'all been paying attention, I need y'all to put that in the chat. This is a quiz. If you've been following me, you should know what 2 high safety means for the rest of the offense, particularly one player. One player with 2 high safety looks, getting 2 high safety looks, should go off. Who is that player? Somebody said it. I'm paying attention now. It's updating quicker on my phone than it is. Infamous says, run all day. Yes. 2 high safety looks means 7-man boxes, meaning your boys, Demo, and Khalil Herbert, about to go off because it's 7 men. It's 7-man box. We want that all day. So if I got 2 speedsters out there, now I have defensive coordinators in the compromise, right? Defensive coordinators are in a compromise. So he has to pick his poison. All right, I'm going to run it down your throat. You're going to play 7-man box? I'm going to run it down your throat, right? Okay. You're going to play 8-man box? I'm going to throw it over your head. You can't do both. You have 53 and 1/3 yards wide and 120 yards worth of field to defend. You cannot do both. You're going to have to give up something. You're going to have to give up something. If Velus can get open on the outer halves of the field, the outer thirds of the field, and he gets man coverage, single high safety, man coverage to cover 3, it don't even have to be a completed pass. Just the threat of him going past somebody or Darnell going past somebody, that's a problem. That's why this works for me. Right? Marifa said it's going to open up the run game. Absolutely. It's a numbers. Bear Truth 9 says it's a numbers game. Infamous said Montgomery. All these are correct answers, right? Montgomery going to go off. Khalil Herbert going to go off, right? So, outer thirds, Who you gonna defend? Who you gonna pick your poison? Mooney or Velus? Who you gonna roll? So if you go single high coverage, single high safety, who you gonna roll coverage over to? 9 times 10, they're gonna roll the coverage over to Darnell Mooney, right? Because he's the veteran with veteran speedster. They're gonna roll if they go single high safety. That safety gonna have his eye on Darnell Mooney. Be like, oh man, I ain't worried about the rookie over there. You know what I'm saying? He a rookie. You know what I'm saying? Let's put our best cover corner on Darnell Mooney because he's the vet. We're gonna go single high safety, and we may or may not. Somebody say your mic is fading in and out. Sorry about that. I may have to go off my Bluetooth. If it dies, it dies. I'm just gonna push the show. I'm gonna keep talking, but y'all give me feedback. Let me know how it's going. Appreciate that, Curtis Newberry. Appreciate that. All right, so pick your poison. I'm putting myself inside a football helmet, right? I'm the safety. I'm the defensive coordinator. All right, I gotta play. The Bears have been running it down my throat, right? Demo, Khalil Herbert going off. All right, I got to add a body to the box. 8-man box. Boom. Who am I going to check? Darnell Mooney. Darnell, am I going to lock Darnell? I'm going to send my best corner over to Darnell Mooney, and then I might roll coverage back to the rookie. But as soon as that rookie burns somebody in one game, as soon as that rookie shows he can blow past somebody in one game, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. DC Culture said it's also good that because Cole Kmet can eat over the middle. Yes, in too high looks, absolutely. And single high coverage, which we've been getting a lot of over the last 2 years, right? We've been getting a lot of single high, right? Man coverage and cover three. It's not good for the tight end. That's why when people get hard or go hard on Cole Kmet, I'm like, bro, y'all got to chill, man. Because guess what? Cole is seeing boxes full of bodies, right? Boxes full of bodies. Single high coverage, cover three, cover one is bad for tight ends. And then add on to that, Cole will spend a lot of his time in pass protection, man. So I ain't even got into the abilities of this guy yet. The ability of come in more mature. Like, Luke Gessie said, man, this dude came in a suit and he came with a whiteboard ready to go. He's focused. He's ready. He realizes he only has so many years to make his impact, right? This is just the truth. You got this contract, you got your rookie contract, and if you don't get it done now, that bag is gone. That bag is gone. It's a wrap. So you better come in and make your mark now. But let's talk about the utilization of them, right? And I'm going to do this in the coming weeks. I told y'all. I promised y'all because I feel like this is what separates me from the rest of these jokers out here. No disrespect to nobody. Y'all do y'all thing. I love what Bears social media does out there. I got some of my favorites. I'm not going to name them here, but you know what I'm saying? But this is what coach's niche is, right? This is my niche, right? I told y'all I'm going to put a playbook together. I'm going to show you how it uses guy. And it's going to look something like this. X, slot, and Y. I'm moving them around. I'm moving him around X. That's why I want him to come in. I want him to be a playbook nerd. I need you to learn all three positions. I need you to learn the X, slot, and the Y because I need to make this offense simple. I need to make this offense simple for my wide receivers, but I need to make it complex for the defense. We're going to play a game of 3-card Monty with Velus Jones, meaning I'm going to make the defensive coordinator find him whenever he's on the field. And I'm going to line him at the X, the Z, and the slot. And if he's at the X, now you got to play too high safety because he might blow 2 quick screens to him out on the perimeter and just throw the ball to him and let him get some yak with that big body, right? Especially if I put him in the slot. Who do you guys, again, I'm going to start doing this more, but if I put him in the slot, who do you guys think lines up against him? Is it going to be the defensive cornerback 1, 2, or the nickel cornerback? Shoot it in the chat. Let me know. Who does he line up against? Does he line up against the defenses, cornerback 1, 2, or that nickel cornerback? Mind you, he hasn't developed a reputation of being that guy yet. He hasn't developed that reputation of being that guy yet, so defense ain't gonna know how to play him yet this year, right? Who is he? Who lines up against him? Right? Cornerback 1, 2, or 3 in the slot. If he's at the slot, who do you put on him as a defensive coordinator? These are all things we think about, man, as coaches, right? I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna line him up in the slot, and I'm gonna see who you line up against him. If you don't put your cornerback 1 or 2 on him, right, and I line him up in the slot, you put him up against a nickel, which is usually going to be a lighter guy, right? He's not going to be your best corner. I'm going to be like, all right, mismatch. Nickel for sure. Everybody saying nickel. Somebody said cornerback 2. Cornerback 2, maybe. But I'm willing to bet. It's going to be the nickel because he hadn't gathered that reputation yet to warrant putting a cornerback 2, definitely not a cornerback 1 on him. It's probably going to be that nickel. That nickel's going to be a little bit lighter in the behind. I'm gonna throw the quick script. I'm gonna throw the quick screen out to him and say, go run somebody over, make them miss, make plays. It's all about mismatches. This is the chess game. So you playing 3-card Monty with Velus Jones. And remember, I told you guys this, right? Don't think of wide receiver 1 as just. Don't think of wide receiver 1 as a star. Think of wide receiver 1 as a guy that has the ability to create mismatches. And more important, think of wide receiver 1 as a guy that can play coaching challenge for Darnell Mooney. For me, being a wide receiver 1 is when I line him up on the line moves off the line of scrimmage, but if he can't beat jams and physical cornerbacks, say a team like that, the team that plays like us, right, that's going to play like us, like the Colts, that's going to play a lot of too-high safety, where the cornerbacks can be more physical, whether they're in man coverage, too-high man, or too-high zone, that cornerback could get up there and jam a guy like Darnell Mooney, as he was, not maybe as he's going to be. He's probably gotten better, right? And it becomes a problem. How do coaches cover guys like that? That's too light, that's too thin to be effective on the line of scrimmage, right? How do you cover guys like that? How do you protect? They put him in the slot. Right? No man said wide receiver means possession receiver to me. Not to me, bud. Not to me. A wide receiver 1, remember, means a guy that can be moved around with versatility in my offense. I need a guy I can move around with versatility, right? That's the guy like Devontae Adams that you got to find no matter what's going on. I need to find where this guy at because he's going to be a problem. Now, I'm getting back to my point on Darnell Mooney. As a coach, I'm going to hide. If Darnell Mooney can't beat press coverage, I'm going to line him up at the slot. Now, that's not a good look. That's something I don't want to do because then it becomes about his build in the slot, his ability to take hits across the middle and all that other stuff. Now, what's the rule, though? Now, generally, you line them up at the slot. Generally, you line them up the slot, the high guys that can't beat press coverage. But what's the rule? All y'all that's been following me, this is the quiz show. What's the rule? What's the rule for guys on and off the line of scrimmage? Who's usually on the line of scrimmage, and who's off the line of scrimmage? Who's on and who's off? Right? Where are people lined up? What's the rules? So you can tweak this thing, and I'm gonna break this down in the coming weeks. You can mess around with who you line up and off the line of scrimmage to take advantage of who can't beat press coverage and who can, right? What's the rule? I'm checking in the chat. Somebody said, who needs a George Pickens when you got Velus Jones? Quick toss. Wide receivers. Somebody said, Cliff Victoria said wide receivers. I'm going to get to the comment section. I need to start highlighting some of these. I'm on by myself today, man. So It's a little bit going crazy, but I want to get some of these longer comments. Y'all know I'm gonna address them in the DM section of this thing. But yeah, who? So y'all supposed to be telling me what's the rule? All my patrons, all my followers out there, all my what they call them, all my field soldiers out there. What's the rule? We got boom. Starbucks run. Swifty's in the
Oh shoot,
building.
I'm on. What up?
Oh shoot, I'm on. Swifty, I'm
I
breaking
didn't
down
see
some
you
X's
yet.
and O's, man. I'm talking
I
some
hear you,
X's and O's.
man.
I'm
I've been
talking
watching.
Velus Jr. I'm gonna double back to you to get your on Mr. Jones Jr. But I want to answer this quick question about the X's and O's of it real fast. So I waited long enough. Here's the rule, right? Here's the rule. Including the quarterback and the running back, there can only be 4 guys in the backfield at a time. It affects who lines up on and off the line of scrimmage, right? Why does that matter? Because, and me and Swifty had this conversation, right? If you don't have a guy, if you don't have 3 guys that can beat press coverage, then you hide the one guy that can't beat press coverage, and you remove him off the line of scrimmage, right? So whoever it is that can't beat press coverage, he's usually in most situations, he's going to be the slot guy or he's going to be the Z off, right? So there's always this dance between slot off, Z off, and the wide receiver off, right? Now, how does this chain react to everything else? We're going to run split zone, Swift. Now I'm finna mess. Now I got Swift to mess with now, right? With this
Yeah,
nerd
okay.
X and O talk. If we're gonna
Let's get
run
it.
split zone,
Ah,
the tight end is usually going across the formation, right? If we run the split zone, the
yep.
tight end is usually crossing the back of the formation, right? So he has to be off the line of scrimmage. So if he's off the line of scrimmage, that's 3 right there. That's the quarterback, running back, and tight end. Somebody's gonna have to be one of those wide receivers. 2 of those guys are gonna have to be on the line of scrimmage. This is why it all factors in, man. This
I
this
think
is
that's
what
one thing that they underrate about Byron Pringle. I think Byron Pringle can beat press coverage. I think he's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the footwork. He could definitely beat press coverage, and people sleep on that.
so give me this, Swift, since we're talking about it. What because I asked you this question offline.
hmm
What about Darnell?
I think Mooney can beat press coverage too. He's obviously not the best in the NFL at it. He's definitely one of the smaller receivers. He's very thin framed, but he has the footwork and the head fakes and the route running ability to get past press coverage. Now he's still going
Right.
to get jammed. Those bigger physical corners are going to jam him at the line and throw him off his route, but he can recover with his footwork. And once he recovers, those bigger physical guys, they can't stay with him down the field. So unless they have a safety over top, he's trouble when he's in press coverage.
So what Swift is talking about right there, safety over the top. If he's gonna have a safety over the top, right? And they're gonna have a safety over the top of Velus Jones Jr. You're talking about too high, right? You're talking about too high man, too high zone, cover 2 man, cover 2 zone. Again, we just said this before you got on, Swift. If teams are playing too high versus us, Demo going off, Khalil Herbert going off. This is this is the this is the fun part for me. I get to solve the puzzle of okay, I need to design an offense for all scenarios. So Demo Khalil's going off. What is the defensive coordinator going to do? He's going to bring a man down in the box, 8-man boxes, single high safety. Right now, I'm finna eat. Pardon my French, y'all. I'm getting excited because this coach talk. I'm finna eat his ass alive. I'm finna go. I'm finna put my dogs on the outside that can run. I'm like, okay, yeah, you want to add that man to the box? Cool. Play action pass. Somebody is going over your head. Pick your poison, buddy. We finna eat. Now, Swifty comes on and says, watch this. He believes this is why I rely on Swift, right? Because if I'm thinking about X and O's, I can't be thinking about personnel decisions, right? So I say, Swift, can our guy beat man coverage? Darnell Mooney. Okay, so watch this. Count our guys. Jones Jr. is gonna be able to beat man coverage. Pringle gonna be able to beat man coverage. Moore gonna be able to beat man coverage. Mooney can beat man coverage.
Your mic's going in and out a little bit, Coach.
That's what
It's,
everybody said earlier. I hope it
yeah, I
just
was
go
like,
ahead and die out so I can use the mono, bro, the
oh,
whole
okay,
time
okay.
because I'm on Bluetooth right now.
It's that Bluetooth.
Yeah. I didn't believe we was gonna get back on today and be technical difficulty free today. So there you have it, right? So y'all see what I said, right? No, I did not say that.
He said, "No, I did not say that."
Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Where's my? Hey, I'm gonna have my moderators. Uh,
Y'all heard it.
Swifty out in the comment section. No, we're not doing that on the
Oh,
show, Swift. I said
oh,
eat
snap!
his out, not eat. No, we're not doing that on the show.
Eat his ass on the
Look,
outside. I think you said something like that. I mean,
eat his ass up, not eat ass.
yeah, I got you. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
playing
This is a
with you,
family
Coach.
program, guys. Let's keep it PG-13. All right, listen. So that's the Velus Jones, man. Velus Jones breakdown. Let's get into the next guy. I'm gonna let Swifty take this one. Well, actually, Swifty, you came on. Well, I'll let you give your commentary on it, man. Braxton Jones Jr. Let me know, bro.
I'm still working on it, man. I'm halfway through. That video's supposed to be out tonight, and I'm not done with it.
Give
I
me your
love his
preliminaries, bro.
footwork.
I know you. I
His
know you got something.
he's athletic. You guys know what Poles loves, man. He loves those guys with athleticism, and he has all the athleticism and footwork to play left tackle. Now, what he's lacking in strength.
Right.
He doesn't get the initial push off the line. He can get beat by speed rushers. He can get beat by power rushers, but he has the footwork, technique. He plays with that solid demeanor. He blocks to the whistle. He's a guy who could be a left tackle um,
Yeah.
for a long time. It just he's not quite ready yet. Um, I think this year you probably want to make him compete with either Jenkins or Borum, and if he can put on that strength, and you never know, you got a few months, but usually I say in order to add strength that's going to matter in the NFL and bulk up to be able to face those much stronger guys in the NFL, you need a full season and get that. You got that off season this year, you got a full season in the weight room, and then you got a whole nother off season in the strength and conditioning program where the coaches can say, this is what we want you to do. This is how we want you to build strength. These guys who know how to do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think he's a guy who can be a future left tackle, but he has question marks. He's not obviously not 100% sure thing, but I like a lot of what I've seen from him so far. What have you seen from his like footwork and things that you like to look for?
Yeah, so y'all know when I do these offensive lineman breakdowns, man, I do it like I coach it, right? So foot, hips, hands, right? Always foot, hips, hands, and I think he's better suited for right actually.
Hmm.
And what I use to break down the tape because yeah, he has the thing about it, right? People look at people's highlight tapes when they break guys down, right? I'll go back and look at some of the game footage. But then for these guys as Senior Bowl guys, I want to see how they matched up against the Senior Bowl competition. The smaller school guys, Utah, Southern Utah, I want to see how you perform um, at the Senior Bowl versus better competition. And I think if you look at the Senior Bowl tape, to me, at the left side, he didn't look as comfortable on the left side than he did his right. There was one
Hmm.
time I saw he actually, on his kick step, he actually rolled his ankle. And I was like, man, how did he just not just break his ankle right now where he rolled it? His kick didn't look natural on the left side. So I start with
Hmm.
the feet. I move to the hips and bend, right? The fluidity of the hips and bend. And then I go to how strong is he up top and hands and just man the guys and control him. So with his feet on the left side, when I looked at it, it just didn't look natural to me. But when he moved to the right side, he looked like a totally different guy. He like a totally different player, right? He looked fluid. He looked smooth with his feet. And the other thing is I'm looking to when they're taking chop steps, when they're taking kick step or power step. So power step is power stepping down. kick step, of course, is kicking out, right? I'm looking at the angle he's able to take with the kick step, but then I'm also looking to see how consistent is his feet with staying cemented in the ground and anchored, right? Is he taking big clumsy jump steps with his feet where they're off the ground a lot, or can he stay anchored? And it just seemed to me that he was better on the right side of making that happen. And
Hmm.
then he's athletic. The thing about his arms are so long that they negate anything he needs to do with his hips. I think somebody said he has like 31 to 34-inch arms in length. The dude can stand up and scratch his knees without bending over, right? So his hips, his arm length kind of negates what needs to happen with his hips. His arms are so long that they negate his bend and what he needs to do with his bend. And his bend is there. So if I had to pull him out on the top, his athleticism is there. If I had to pull him out on like a sweep or something, a toss sweep on the outside, pin and pull sweep type of move, he can move with his hips enough, fluid enough where he can make it happen. But his arms are so long, and it speaks to that's a good and a bad, right? So it speaks to what you said about his strength, because as a longer arm guy, it's a little bit harder to build upper body strength. Now, I'm speaking as somebody that's a long arm dude. You know what I'm saying? I'll be 47 next month, right? I still lift weights. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably about 375, 380, like one rep bench press. And it's hard for me to grow my upper body strength and my bench press by for how long my arms are. It's just more muscle to build and length and strength. So what he's going to have to learn how to do is play within his power, right? Play within that power box up front. Know how to get his hands on guys and lock them in. And as you say, on the right program with the right people, they're going to be able to help him develop his strength. But I put him at right. I let him compete with Borum because to me, right off the bat, he's more athletic in my opinion, the Borum is right now. I let him
Oh yeah.
compete now, and if he develops into a left later on, great. You know what I'm saying? But I let him go head to head with Larry and see best man wins. No
So
excuses. And I want a guy that doesn't need help.
what are your thoughts on because this is why I think, and this is one of the things that we are going to learn as the training camp and preseason come on, is where they prefer Jenkins, where they prefer Borum. But a lot of teams, it's kind of been a standard in the NFL that, and this is why a lot of guys tried to pigeonhole Jenkins at right tackle last year, is fans, coaches, teams seem to like having really athletic pass blocking left tackles, and then on the right side they put a mauler, a guy who can smash in the run game. And when I think of those profiles, because we don't know what Poles wants yet, but if those
Yeah,
are the profiles he's looking for, then to me, Jones is the left tackle and Jenkins is the right tackle. But you've heard me say it before. People who say Jenkins' natural position is right tackle. Like I'm
yeah,
not with that. I think Jenkins can play left tackle. Um, to me, when I'm thinking of that, it's more the reason I have Jones as left tackle is more he's explosive, athletic, and a much better pass blocker right now than he is a run blocker. He doesn't
yeah,
have that strength. You're not going to be able to run behind him. And when teams run that power, we've talked about that power, they usually run it to the right. You're not going to run a power offense behind him right now. He could come in and play left tackle and possibly block some of these elite pass rushers, though. Is he going to be a Pro Bowler right away? No, he's going to struggle. But he's way better as a pass blocker right now than he is as a run blocker, and that's
yeah.
to me. So what are your thoughts on that? Like,
I
since
just
he's
I
a better pass blocker, is he still you still see him on the right side better? I haven't watched his Senior Bowl tape yet, so I haven't seen what you saw with that
Yeah, I think
stumble.
here's the thing about the system, right? If we're going to we're going to gap power system. I think it doesn't matter, and the reason why you go gap power is because remember the philosophy of gap power is block down, kick out, right? So you're not blocking a guy head up in gap power. You're blocking down a man, meaning so you're supposed to get ear hole blocks to hold down. So you just need to be strong enough to wash down, right? So say you got a guy lined up directly over you or shaded to your outside. The rule with gap power is I'm blocking down opposite the direction of the play is going. Meaning I'm going to get, and this is what I did with my offense, right? One of the things I taught with one of the smaller offensive line teams I had was I reassured the guys that you don't have to be this juggernaut strength wise, because the way this offense is designed is you're supposed to get whole blocks no matter what. There's no big on big. You're not going forward. You're either going left or right, right? So what you have to be is quick. You have to be disciplined with your steps. You have to get off with the right foot and make sure you get that. Because if that guy crosses your face, he's going to get penetration and ruin my play, and I'm going to be pissed off, and you're going to be out of a job, right? So be quick, get off the line. So in the tape and breakdown I did for Larry Tevin Jenkins, I think he can go either way. His
Yep.
his his kick on the left side, his kick on the right side, they're both good. I'm looking at Jones. His kick on the left side is not good as the right. And think about it. If he can't get
Did you
out,
see
he's on
that?
the left.
Do you think that was possibly? So the only thing I could think about that is, I think since he played left tackle in college, he played left tackle. He should be more comfortable at left tackle. What I'm thinking is when he went into the off season, his guys with him were like, "We got to get you comfortable at right tackle," and maybe so for a month or two before the combine, he was training straight at right tackle. And I think, do you think that could have thrown off his reps and made him forget some of that footwork?
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
he looked like he had a good kick out from what I've seen on tape in college. Did you get to
I'm
see much of
interested.
that?
I'm interested in seeing what you see. But yeah, it could be. He could come in camp. Here's the other factor, right? Here's the other factor. Again, this is just me putting my coach's hat on. I don't want a rookie left tackle.
Yeah.
I don't want a rookie left tackle. I don't want a left rookie. If I'm gonna go 5-man protection, I don't want a rookie protecting the blind side of my star quarterback. I want somebody that has NFL reps, NFL experience, right? And say, okay, listen, because one of these guys, you're gonna have to go out there and be like, I'm not worried about. As an offense coordinator, I need to be able to say one of these guys I'm not worried about, right? As an offensive line coach and offensive coordinator, I need to put a guy over there I can say, okay, he's going to handle business. He's seen NFL talent before. This NFL talent has seen a plethora of defensive pass rushing moves. He should be okay. Now, as the offensive line coach, I'm going to pay attention to the reps. I'm going to pay attention to film and say, okay, how's my boy Jones over there doing? And then I'll be relaying to the offensive coordinator, hey, Jones is struggling against whoever today. Let's get him some help. He needs to chip. So now I go to the running back coach on the sideline and say, hey, when we're in this pass concept, tell your running backs they need to step to Jones' side. They need to help Chip because he's getting his ass kicked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
And
kind of
that's what
how it. Yeah,
one of the things I see is I think Jones, and this is why I think he's going to be a left tackle, is because of his athleticism and his explosion. And I don't think he's going to be the left tackle this year. When I see it, to me, we have Borum, we have Jenkins, and we have Julian Davenport. We have three guys who, and people sleep on Davenport. I haven't heard many people even talk about him at all, but he was the starting left tackle for the Colts for the first 4 games last year. He started, I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but he started like 20 some games the last couple of years, and he started them at left tackle and not been horrible. So he's a guy who has a shot. I think maybe they're going to have him compete with somebody, but Braxton Jones I really like. I think the coaches like him. I think Poles likes him, but I think he has to add that strength. So
Yeah,
when it's talking about where he's going to play this year, it's more where do they see him playing in the future and
right.
where would he help most at? I think it's going to be left tackle, but I honestly, you never know because nowadays, back in the day, that formula I talked about where left tackle has to be more athletic, right tackle more of a mauler, it seems that the NFL's kind of switching off that and you need elite athletic guys at both sides, at right tackle and left tackle. It's not just about the blind side. So who knows? Maybe they want to bulk him up and put him at right tackle too. But he does have that athleticism to play left tackle. And I
Yeah, yeah.
for him, that's the
I
one thing
think
where I'm like,
yeah, I think for this season, somebody laying the people laying out their offensive line. Honestly, I think based off the film breakdowns that I've done so far, and the fact that you have to, guys, you gotta factor in the rookie factor. I'm not. I'm just telling y'all, bro. As a football coach, it's like me. It's like me playing a freshman in high school left tackle. He's gonna be overwhelmed. There's so many things he hadn't seen before. He's gonna get out there and get his butt kicked. Give me a guy that's seasoned veteran that can hold down the fort. If he develops into a left tackle, fine. He just needs some NFL experience. But I'm not putting my star quarterback with my left tackle as a rookie, his blind side, and I got a rookie that hadn't seen all the plethora of NFL defensive pass rush moves on the backside. I'll let him play the front side. That way, if a guy beats him, at least Justin is looking at it. He can step up in the pocket, reverse out of the pocket. He can use his athleticism to get around them. You can't do nothing about a blind side guy, and he's just barreling down on you, and he's finna smack you. I'm not going to break down the other guys. Do y'all see? We got Zachary Thomas, we got Tristan Ebner, we got Doug Kramer. The only other honorable mention I'm gonna mention, I talked about on Bears Twitter. I gave my top 5 ranking of these new offensive linemen based off of the film footage that I saw, the breakdowns, and I'm watching this film as I'm working and letting it play on slow mo, time after time, and watching these guys. So I'm gonna give y'all a quick rundown on the offensive linemen that we drafted. My top 5. Let me pull this thing up here right here on Twitter. I'm taking right off my Twitter post, but it's no surprise to y'all, or it may be a surprise to some, that I thought Tyree Carter out of Southern University, HBCU, was the most impressive. And again, I don't have to lay out my credentials for y'all. Y'all know I got NFL players in the league, and I've seen plenty of NFL talent in high school and all that other stuff. When I break down the film, it's always feet, hips, hands. And when I say, man, listen, I'll pull it up for you. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I am gonna pull it up for you because I like this kid. Um, I like this kid that much, Swift. It's just certain guys you see on film, and they just do it, man. Let me do this real fast, Swift. I
yeah,
wasn't gonna do it, but I just like I don't know, man. I ain't gonna call it a play. I ain't gonna play. Swift, you know how I feel about calling it play. What is it? Crushes. We not doing
crushes.
that today. He not a crush. But listen.
Oh, the crushes. I got you.
Yeah. Draft crush.
Oh yeah,
Listen.
and that's Carter right there. And I saw him.
This Carter right here. Listen. First thing I'm gonna start with is the build. Dude is built like a guard. If I had to take a picture and if I had to define guard in a dictionary, feet, hips, hands. Dude is built like a guard. Got a lower trunk, sturdy lower trunk, and when he gets his paws on people, watch his feet. His feet stay anchored his feet stay anchored in the ground, right? And his hips move wherever his brain tell him they want to go. It's a rep where he gets beat on here. It's a rep where he gets beat on here, and he actually does a complete 180 to catch up on the block. And his hips go where his head tell him to go, right? But when he gets those hands, he just complete. This is perfect right here for power gap. He just washes down, and the run play comes away from it. But when he gets his hands on you, bro, it's a problem. This is him
He said that himself too. Is that Logan Hall right there? I think that's Logan Hall he's
owning
going
your boy
against.
Logan Hall, by the way.
Ugh. Almost kind of looked like a hold though. Well, maybe close.
Listen, so okay, I got you. So mind you, so for these reps out here at the Senior Bowl, guess who's standing in the back for these one-on-one reps? An NFL referee, and they're throwing the flag
Oh yeah.
for for anything that's a problem, right? On that rep, Logan Hall just went back to his coach. Was like, listen, as long as you on the inside,
This
they
one
not
right
gonna
here,
mess
look at
with you.
that. Oh. And he said it himself. So he played left tackle at Southern, and he said when I was listening to him, this is one of the reps I love right here. It looked like maybe a false start, but he just doesn't stop. His hand movement and
I think
footwork
this
stay
next
with
rep
him,
is the one where he gets beat.
where he gets bulldozed over and he
No,
brings him
well,
down
he
with
gets
him.
beat. He gets beat and he flips his hips and he actually does a 180. This is reps at center.
Oh yeah, that's his center too. Oh,
And
he's
that's a
getting.
big dude.
That's
That
a
dude's out.
big dude.
That dude
Look at
got
him.
that
Ah,
dude got about 30 to 40 pounds on him. But I want to see the rep where that's it. He gets
there it
beat
is.
at center.
Look at it. He flips, comes
He
back.
flips. I'm telling you. Listen,
That was a
y'all.
cornerback move, right? That's a cornerback on a slant. Like he just does the little flip, flips it around, and
Listen, man. Listen,
he's
y'all
there.
trust coach when I tell you. It's certain dudes I see on field. I saw Isaiah Wynn from New England in high school, and I was like, this dude is going to the NFL because I had the game plan against him. I'm like, this dude is just another level. At tackle, hell no. He just doesn't have
Yeah.
now at Southern University. He might be a tackle at Southern University. He might be a tackle, but
Hmm.
in the NFL, if I'm pulling him pass pro, I'm telling you. Listen, if you watching this, Jatari Card, if you watching this, bro, go into camp, go in confident,
Win a starting job.
just go take somebody's job. You got the
What's up,
tools,
Aki?
bro. Don't let this big school, small school crap get in your head. You are a football player. Go in there, be nasty, be mean, be athletic, and just let your body do what it does naturally. And I guarantee you, you're gonna get you a payday. Mark my word for it, bro. You got the tools. You got the tools, man. So if you got a lot of people out shouting you out in the comments. So that's that, man.
Yeah, I
I just
thought
want to have a soapbox.
Nomad said it there though with this guy right here. Like if you look at his lower body, like he has the power, he has the strength, but he's also athletic in his lower body with quick and light feet. He's got the footwork to get out on the second level and just destroy defensive backs and linebackers. But he said it himself is his one problem he had in college was the speed rushers, the guys who would run away from him if
Yeah,
because he couldn't get his hands on them. And that's one of the
right.
things where you move McGuard and you saw his eyes light up. He's like, oh, ain't got nowhere to go now. Like they
Oh,
got to come through me. And he's
yeah.
excited about it. And I think he's going to be a better guard. And I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. And he's a guy that I can't wait to do my full breakdown on because I'm really excited about Carter.
Yeah, I like this double to climb right here. So double team to climb. So you have to be athletic enough at guard when you get in open space. And don't panic. In open space, does he panic? No. Listen, you get back to a good football. You run, you double, you run, you get back to a good football position, right? Break down, chop your feet, and you just got to post the guy up. Run, break down, post him up, and get in the way so you're running back and make a. I'm telling you, dude, I like out of all the guys, offensive lineman, he's my favorite. He's my favorite to win a starting job. I'm willing
Okay.
to be. I'm willing to be wrong.
Yeah,
This is
I
not.
think it's him or Zach Thomas. Like one of those guys are winning our right guard job, in my opinion. And
Yeah,
I'd say
I'm willing.
Carter was the one I listed last too. I think Zachary Thomas is the one that more fans and
Hey.
media people are
By
going
the
with
way,
because he
Swift.
was drafted higher. But yeah, what up?
By the way, Swift. You know you're my guy, right?
What I do?
But this is Jatari Carter owning your guy.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. And that's I saw this already. Jordan Silvera sent me this tape like I think right after he was drafted, and I was like, oh, is that him doing it to Logan Hall? Like, you gotta love it.
Yeah,
I mean, Logan Hall was a legit first round prospect that went in the first couple picks of the second round,
he got the
and
quads, man. He been doing
look at it.
he been doing the squats. I'm just
Oh,
saying, bro. We the man crushed on this man long enough.
yep,
Listen,
we
Swifty,
did.
let's pivot, man. What's next, man? We got to break it down. Oh, it's not showing up right. Dang it.
Oh, the schedule? Oh, okay, okay,
Let's do it. We'll roll with the graphic. My bad. I'll tell
okay.
you what. Let's do it like this. Let me see. Y'all know we
It's
we
like the
got we
first
got
half.
we got we got graphics here.
Hmm.
We can flip it. We can flip it a number of ways. Booyah!
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Too smooth for school, bro. So
Oh,
let's do this week by week. Swift. Here's your schedule, man. By the way, let me preface this with this right here. Y'all already know Coach T is in the Atlanta, Georgia area, suburbs. So guess what? Guess who's the unofficial mayor of the Chicago Bears takedown of Atlanta? None other than yours truly, Coach T. I'm the unofficial mayor. If you come into the city, you're a patron of the channel. You're a follower. You're a sub. You're a field soldiers. If you're coming to the city for the Atlanta game, do me a favor. Go on Twitter, inbox me. Let me know you come in my city. If you're a follower of the channel, if you're a frequent follower of the channel, I want to make sure you good and you set up in the city. You know where to go. You know where don't go, where not to go in the city. All that good stuff. Every city got its places you go and all that stuff. I can let you know I was raised here. Even though I was born up north, I was raised down here. But I'm gonna make sure you good. You come to the city. We doing a Bears takeover of the ATL that weekend. My pops going to the game. My wife going to the game. My boys,
oh,
right?
shoot.
Everybody going to the game. We probably gonna tailgate the whole nine, man. So the ATL game I'm going to, and I think the Week 13 game, October 13th. I don't know what game that is. Let me get it up here on a single screen.
Green Bay?
I think I'm
That's
trying to
the
go to
Green Bay
Green.
game.
Is that October
Oh,
13th game?
it's the week 13. I don't know if it's October. No, not October. No,
Nah, I
it's
don't think
probably
it's.
October 13th would be.
That's the 13th night. That's the Thursday night game. Washington game.
It's the Washington game. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to that one as well. So that's going to be a home game. I try to get one home game, one-on-one away game every year, but definitely that. Let's break this thing off, Swifty man. What you thinking as far as this schedule is concerned?
Man, I
Week
like
one.
it. This is probably the easiest schedule overall we've had in years. Obviously, we come out with two games that are going to be tough. That first one's exciting for me. Like, I love this as a week one opener. The 49ers are the team that Justin Fields had his most exciting play versus last year. He kept us in that game, in a game where our secondary looked like absolute trash and our offensive line looked like trash. And Fields kept us in that game. He had that rollout touchdown pass that he threw, the one where he's kind of going like this to the tight end, threw it over there. And then he also had the best run I've seen all season when he made Joey Bosa, Fred Warner, all those guys look dumb and cut it back for a 20-yard touchdown score. But we got that week one against the Niners, and it's also going to be this is where the media is going to pump it up. If Trey Lance starts, you got Trey Lance, Justin Fields, first time going head to head after the Niners traded up what 3+ first round picks and took Lance over Justin Fields. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you know Fields knows that. He remembers that.
Right.
Uh, that's going to be an exciting game, man. I can't wait for that one.
I'm definitely excited for that one as too. But I'm gonna say this about the overall schedule, right? So this is what I'm expecting with a new team, a new staff, a new regime. I'm expecting split the games in half. What is it? 18 games, split them in half, 9 and 9. I'm expecting the second half of the season to look totally different than the first half of the season, right? I like the fact that we get the Niners in Green Bay the first and second game of the year. And I'll tell you the reason why. Again, I'm always got my coaching hat on, right? You're trying to get 53 grown men to become one cohesive unit, right? Who are we trying to become as a football team? We're trying to become a diet offensively. We're trying to become a diet San Francisco, a diet San Francisco. I like that.
Yep.
And
No, I like
and
that. That's a good
I'm
one.
not gonna blaspheme in the chat and dare I say anyway, we try and become we try to become a die San Francisco. So watch this. This is gonna be a great test for our
It
team
is.
because watch this. Offensively, who we will look the most like is San Francisco, in my opinion. Right? But understand our defense is going to be going against a offense that looks like what we're trying to become all off season. They're going to have a lot of these concepts to look at all off season, and this is going to be more of a test for our defense. Defense is usually ahead of offense anyway at the beginning of the season. So watch this. This is my prediction with all the hype, even with Trey Lance coming in and all this other stuff. And I think that's the factor that makes it close. I expect Justin to outplay Trey Lance, right? But our defense is going to be tested to really understand what it looks like to go against a true gap power style offense and all the tricks of the trade that Kyle Shanahan has up his sleeve. I think it's a close one. I think we take the L. Now watch this. I believe we take the L, but I think it's going to be one of the most critical games of our season because I believe it's going to be close, but I believe what our players are going to walk away from the game with the feeling like we really had them. Like we had them on the ropes at some point. We should have finished them.
I
And
like
we
that.
just didn't have enough of the cohesiveness as a football team and knowing each other, having each other's back, that we're missing that certain form of unity where we miss the mark and we miss out, right? And so we take the L, but it's going to feel like a W because we play well, but it's going to be a mistake here, a mistake there, not really understanding where to be, when to be there, and not making that one or two plays that gets it done. So
Yeah,
that's it.
no, I
I'm
could
on
see
it.
that a lot. I like that because what you said there is it's a game where we could have them on the ropes. And it's a game when I was looking at the schedule, it's one of the ones that was hardest to break down for me because I feel like we could beat the Niners. I feel like Justin Fields can definitely outperform Trey Lance, especially early in the season. The thing I feel like it's going to be rough, obviously, they're going to test our run defense right off the bat. They're going to be running it right down our throat. And
Yep.
I think we could struggle a little bit there, especially early on in the season before our scheme comes together and our team is gelled. I think the Niners could take advantage of us there.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a game where we could have them on the ropes and we one or two plays could not go our way and we end up losing the game. But it's one of those that I really wanted to pick us to win, but coming out just that early in the season, we're not quite ready yet. And it's going to be a tough matchup going right against the 49ers day one when they're one of the best teams at doing what we want to do in the entire league. They run the football great. They play awesome defense. And Kyle Shanahan's honestly the best there is at designing different ways to attack you in the run game and with the play action passes. Like he's a genius. I respect Shanahan a lot.
Yeah. The one person you can get me to use the crush word on is Kyle Shanahan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever. Y'all take it for what it's worth. Coaches got guys they look at. Kyle Shanahan is my dude, bro.
Yeah.
That's the dude. That's the dude I want to be like when I coach offensive football. When I design my playbook. But watch this. This is the other part that I didn't add, Swift. That's going to be an added benefit of this game, right? It sets the tone for the rookies of the level of physicality on which how we want to play. This is going to be a
Mm.
physical football game.
Ooh.
And for rookies coming into that first NFL game, they're going to be like, holy hell. Like, especially our guys on defense, because Kyle's going to come after him in the run game. And it's going to set the tone to say, hey, if you're not prepared for this game, the physicality of it, you're going to get that smoke. But watch this. If this is the first game, it sets the precedence for how they think physicality in the NFL happens the rest of their career. So if it ain't at that level when we're playing another team, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we finna eat today." So I like us taking the L, but with leaving with that winning feeling. So
Yeah,
going
I
to
like
Green
where it
Bay,
comes because, like, well, just real quick, getting that physical game out of the way that early in the season and then going on the road to Green Bay in prime time, we might start out 0-2. That's tough. I mean, it's going to be tough to win either one of those games, but it's going to toughen our team up. And when we come home the week after those two games, we're playing the Houston Texans. Man, I feel like we might just destroy them, and that's where we might start to get our footing because it always does. It takes new coaches a little bit of time to get these teams their footing, and it's going to be hard breaking down every game. But one of the things I like is after those first two games, it's the toughest test of the season, pretty much, other than that Buffalo Bills game on Christmas Eve. Like That's the tough stretch right there. Those first two games are going to come out, punch you in the mouth, and test
Yeah.
you. And if we could bounce back, we could really win a lot of games in that schedule. There's a lot of winnable games after that, and it's exciting to look at.
So Swifty said it right. So going into week two of Green Bay, I think it's a similar story, right? Now it's quite the opposite, right? It's not Justin versus Trey. It's Justin versus Aaron, and it's our defense's maturity in the passing game, right? Being on your spots, being on your square. This one, I kind of actually give us a little bit better chance because it's predicated on pass concept and Green Bay's ability to get everybody on the same sheet of music. And Aaron having a new guy as his quote unquote star wide receiver, like it's gonna have to be somebody. It's gonna have to be their wide receiver core as a group beating our secondary as a group, right? Or their running game just totally dominating our front seven. But I think the missing pieces that Green Bay's gonna have on defense, this is gonna turn in a little bit of a toss up and an opportunity for us to steal one. Green Bay, it being at Green Bay will be a factor, right? Again, you got a bunch of rookies on the road. There's just going to be a lot. And then here's the other thing, the coaching staff. So I talked about the players getting their footing and coming together. It takes a while for new offensive coordinators to get their rhythm. So Luke hadn't been in the booth calling plays for an entire season for a while. It's going to take him time to get his rhythm. It's going to take Flu time to get his rhythm as far as being in tune for when to do what. Call a timeout here, press a button here, in the locker room, halftime speech, pregame speech, like all that factors. We're still not a cohesive unit yet, and I say we somehow goofed this up. When again another opportunity where we had a chance to steal it, it's not going to be San Francisco and Green Bay blow us out. We just goof it up. One or two plays here, we take the L.
I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, it's just so that game. It is a game we can win.
Yeah,
The Packers' weakness the last few years has been teams like the 49ers. The 49ers have actually Shanahan's had Rodgers' number. Like they can't stop the run. They get ran over. It's kind of why they drafted defense, and they also can stop Rodgers.
yeah,
But it's still considering how early it is in the year. It's prime time. It's on the road. It's in Green Bay. I expect Green Bay to run the ball a lot that game. I think it's going to be a mix of A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. And they're going to
right,
try to run the ball down our throat. And then Rodgers is going to take some shots with play action and test our newly formed secondary. And it's more of a matter of our problem in Green Bay over the years has been not only can we stop Rodgers, but can we score? And
right,
we always seem to struggle in Green Bay. And obviously, yeah, I think we can steal that game. But those are starting off the season. That's our toughest test right there. Those two games, like
those two
it's like
games.
it's like we open up the season and we get punched in the mouth, and it's going
Now,
to test our strength. And I think it's going to make us a better football team. And everyone's like, oh, but if you
absolutely.
lose those first two games, but I think those first two games are going to toughen us up, and
Yep,
then we after that we face a much easier schedule. And as long as we don't, as long as there's not any letdowns, I think we can go on quite a run there and
yep. I
at
think yeah,
least
that
be
you're right.
in a lot of games.
No, I think you're right. I think those two games callous us up a little bit. It sets expectations for the rookies. It sets expectations for the coaching staff on how things are going to be. For me, it goes without saying. The next two games, we take those right now. I want to say this on a macro level, right? I think so. This schedule split in half, 9-9. I think one of these first nine games, we're going to win a game that we're not supposed to win on paper. So I'm gonna say that as we go through this, I believe we take the next two games at Texans. We go down there and kick their behinds. We kick New York's behind. But in these next 4 or 5 games we break down, I believe there's going to be a game that we're not supposed to win that we just show up and we surprise some people. So the next game we're looking at the Vikings. What's your thoughts, Swift?
And I think that's where it could start. I mean, yeah, because those next 4 or 5 games after that is another pretty tough stretch. We got the Vikings, the Commanders, the Patriots, the Cowboys, the Dolphins. They're all good teams. And it's before we have a little easy 3-game stretch, but none of those 5 teams are world beaters. I think
Right.
we could be in every one of those games, and I think we will win a couple of them.
Right.
It's hard to tell this early, like which one it's going to be or what team's going to be playing or who's going to be hot. But I look at the Vikings as a team that Kirk Cousins never scares me. Obviously, if their defense is healthy and good and Dalvin Cook is running, um, they're a good team. Dalvin Cook's one of the best running backs in football, but they don't scare me. Kirk Cousins is he's like Jimmy Garoppolo in that way. He can throw a dumb interception at any point in time. The Commanders, they don't have a quarterback. The Patriots, Mac Jones, you always got to respect Belichick. The Cowboys have just a lot of talent on their team, but they're the Cowboys. They can mess up at any time. And then the Dolphins, I'm not too scared of Tua either. So any one of those games, we could win 3 or 4 of them even. But it's gonna be a rough stretch, and it's probably gonna be one of the most fun stretches of the season because we're gonna have a lot of games that are close and a lot of really good football games is what I see in there.
Yeah. So I like us against the Vikings actually taking that game. I don't feel like historically, I feel like the pecking order has always been Green Bay, us, the Vikings, and Detroit, bro. And I don't feel like intimidation wise, I don't think character wise, I think players from Chicago just go into, even though we dropped games to the Vikings before, I think it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things, bro, where, and I think when he started talking about escalating, right, the Texans New York game, we go in, we beat them up, but starting to the real stamp of putting your stamp of approval and identity on the team. It comes with that win at the Vikings. I feel like we take the Washington game on the Thursday night, right? And I feel like it'll be a breakout game for the offense as a whole. So to me, right, offensive football to me, 4 to 6 weeks is always going to be the struggle. But I think Vikings Washington game, that's when the offense starts to peak. That's when Luke Getsy starts to get in his bag and understand who he is as a play caller, and he has a rhythm. And now he's calling plays, and he can put together string together long drives and that stuff like that. And we start to pull things out. So I have the Texans, New York, Vikings, Washington as dub. We at 4-2. I think we go into Patriots that next week, and we just get out coached. It's just experience, Bill knowing how to build. It just is what it is. I think it's a close one, but it's at New England. It's Bill Belichick. And I think this is where our coaches really get exposed from not just having that depth of experience in that library. As an offensive play caller, you have to have a library of answers, right? As a defensive coordinator, you have to have a library of answers. And they just don't have that library of things, experiences to draw on where they can say, hey, I'm gonna do this in this situation. So I think at that point, Patriots, we're 4-3. What you think about the Cowboys?
Cowboys are a team, and they're really good. They were a team that was they won a lot of games last year in the regular season. They have a lot of talent. You got Dak Prescott, you got Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard. They lost Amari Cooper, but CeeDee Lamb should be there to step up. They also have Michael Gallup and Cedric Wilson, so they're not really hurting on talent on the offensive side of the ball. They have a good line. They did lose Lael Collins, though, who I loved. Really good tackle, went to the Bengals. And the defense they have a lot of playmakers. Like Micah Parsons was insane last year as a rookie. I think Trayvon Diggs is a bit overrated. He's not very good in coverage, but he's a playmaker and he comes down with a ton of interceptions. So they're a team they're so hot and cold. It just depends on, you never know which version of the Dallas Cowboys you're going to get. So it's a team we can come out and we could beat them. They could make a couple of those mistakes and have a bad game, or it's one of the few games I see on the schedule where they could beat us by 20 plus, just because they have so much talent and it's at home. And I don't know where we'll be at this point in the season. It's hard to tell, but this game is probably one of the hardest to judge for me.
Yeah, it's one of those. That's the same thing for me. I'm going to err on the side of caution and say, again, a young team on the road. big atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of Bears fans there. I'm already hearing the chatter already.
I
That's one
kind
of
of
those
think I might want to
ones.
go to that one.
Yeah, that's one of those ones a lot of Bears fans already talking about they're going to be at. And even though we're going to have a well-traveled group, there's going to be a lot of Bears fans. I'm expecting us to take the L right there and end up at 4-4. I just think this is one of those moments where with rookies it might be too big a moment. I don't think we'll get out coached. I think this will be on the players. They're just not going to make certain plays at certain times, but it'll be another close one. So I'm gonna take the L on that, put us at 4-4. And the next week though, is back home. And my rule is when you bring hot weather teams to Chicago, when that weather starts to turn in the city and that wind starts to come off the lake, I'm not even, you know what I'm saying? I'm erring on the side of the home team with the win. You know what I'm saying? It might be some dynamics in there and all that other stuff, but I feel like we have another breakout game versus Miami at home, and everybody's, you know what I'm saying, on our job. That's 5-4. I got us at right now. How about you,
I
King?
like it. I like it. So the Dolphins are one of those teams that always we don't play them that much, but they're the only team to beat us in 1985. They also beat us in 2006 when we went to the Super Bowl. They ended one of our hot streaks. Um, I don't like the Dolphins. I'll say that much, but I'm not scared of the Dolphins. They're one of those
Right.
teams that the media's hyping up because they went out and got Tyreek Hill. They got a good defense. They got a new coach now. Tua, and to me, it's always about the quarterback, man. And this is one thing is the quarterback is what makes the bus go. And I saw it the other day, man. I don't know if anybody saw this or if you saw it, Coach, but the Miami Dolphins tweeted out a picture or a video of Tua throwing deep to Tyreek Hill, right? And Tua's
Mm-hmm.
there, and they're like, "Watch out, NFL!" And Tua throws it up, and all of a sudden the camera cuts to Tyreek, and Tyreek like this,
He's waiting
waiting
on
for
the
the ball.
ball.
He just
Yeah,
say
I
he
saw
just
that.
standing there, and I'm like, this is what you guys tweet now. I'm not worried about them, man. The
Yeah,
Dolphins are
exactly.
they have a
Like
good
y'all might want to work on
defense.
that timing before you start
They
tweeting that
have
out.
some
Like,
offense, but Tua doesn't scare me, and he's a team that we can beat for sure. I'm not scared of Tua. He's a guy who can make some mistakes, and our secondary can. I think our defense should be coming to form by this time. Kyler Gordon and Brisker and Eddie Jackson and Jalen Johnson. They should be solidifying by this point. And they just came off a good test against the Cowboys, who have one of the best wide receiver cores in the game and a great quarterback. So and then we go back to home. I think we beat the Dolphins. And this begins a stretch of games that really excites me here. After we got the Dolphins, we got the Lions. Sorry, Don Burr, but you're not beating us in Chicago, man. I'll go ahead and put that out there right now. Lions aren't beating us in Chicago unless there's some drastic injuries or something that comes into play. And then we go down to ATL, Coach T's World, and then we go up to the Big Apple for the Jets. I'm not scared of any of those teams. So this
yeah,
begins. It's the midpoint of our season, and it begins a stretch where I think we can really get hot.
yeah. No, I'm with you on those next three picks. Like you said, shout out to Don Bird, but you're not coming to Chicago, beating us in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I put some money on that one.
Hmm.
Just like that. The ATL game, like I said, man, I'm not doing a live show that day. We're gonna be in the building. I might do something from the pregame from the actual tailgate, man,
Ooh,
just for fun, just to make it interesting. But I think we take that game. Just they're a mess down there, and they got Ryan Pace in the front office, and they just making all kind of crazy, uh, personnel moves that they don't like. I talk about our team how we're developing a system and a philosophy. They're going quite the opposite, right? I don't feel like they're putting a good system together to draft players into to develop a system. It's kind of like helter skelter all over the place. I don't get it. Um, so that's the ATL. I think the Jets. It's going to be hype game because Wilson versus uh, 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 Justin
Fields.
Fields. It's going to be all that hype and all that other stuff. But I think their younger players. I think the thing with New York is it's going to be a discipline issue, right? So here's the thing, right? Detroit, discipline issue. Atlanta, just franchise talent, the whole nine issue. New York, discipline issue, right? So we roll off, to me, 3 straight after 5 and 4. Now we go what? Now you have us at what? 8 and 4. Now we head to Green Bay. We not actually Green Bay comes to us, right? And I think this is where now I'll say this about the second half games. Like I said about the front, we're gonna win a game we shouldn't. I'm gonna say this about the back half games. We're gonna lose. I want to say a game on the back half that we shouldn't. So watch this. I'm gonna say we get the dub. Surprise. I say we get the dub at home versus Green Bay. The first game would have been close. We made a few mistakes. We realized we can play with them. The second game, we realized, all right, we can get these guys on the rope, but we need to finish. So I feel like this turns the tide, and we expose that young front seven. It ain't gonna be a passing thing. It's gonna be a physical. We just beat them up in the run game thing. So we expose that young front seven, that no name front seven they got, and we get it. We get a bye, and then Philadelphia, then the Buffalo, then the Lions, then the Vikings. One of these games or two of these games, I feel like are going to be L's that we not supposed to get.
Yep, great
And
point. I actually put, when I made my video, I had us upsetting the Packers in Chicago because I'm like, this is one of those games. I mean, this is why picking wins and L's is so weird for me. It's any given Sunday, you know that, Coach. Anything can happen,
right.
and we never. It's so hard to tell like how our players will be gelling and who will be healthy and who will be hurt at this point in the season. So we just kind of do this for fun. But when you're looking at this, like the Packers after Aaron Rodgers came into Chicago last year and said, "I own you," blah blah blah, like we're going to be getting at it that game. Before a bye in December, it's cold in Chicago. Like our team is going to be gelled by then, especially if we play them tough that first game in Green Bay. Say we play them tough in that first game, but we lose. Then we come back to Chicago a couple months later. I think this is a game we win. But it's hard for me trying to fill out the W's and L's because what I did on the one I made is I had us winning this game, and then after the bye, I had us losing 3 straight. I had us we were on a 5-game win streak, and then we come out and we lose 3 straight.
No,
And
that's real because
I
you
don't think
beat
that's really how it's going to go. It's hard to lose. You can play great after a bye, but it's just so hard. The schedule is so back and forth, man. It's streaky.
No, you come off a big win versus Green Bay, and then
And
now
you have a
again
letdown. Yep.
the youth come into play again. The inexperience from a coaching standpoint and a player standpoint. How do you? Because it's seasons for coaches and players is all about staying even keel, handling wins, handling success the same way you do losses. So you beat Green Bay and you start smoking your own dope, right? Now, the fans is going crazy. We're going to, y'all know how it's going to be. We're going to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? We're world beaters now. And I'm going to tell you something about Philly. Every time we play, Philly is one of those teams that, I don't know if you've ever been to Philly, man, but Philly reminds me a lot of like being in Chicago, being around Chicago. It's just a hard-nosed town, cold weather town. And cats are just tough. They just tough. And so Philly, I feel like we take the L. Buffalo, we take an L, right? And I don't know that we were supposed to win the Philly game in my eyes, right? In my eyes, I don't
I
know
think
that we're
Philly's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I say we take an L at Philly. That brings us to what? In my head, 8-5. Buffalo, Christmas Eve or something like that. 8-6. And then these last 2 games for me is hard. Only because if you don't take the lessons learned in the season and you don't apply them, you can come out of this thing with 2 L's, or you can come out with 2 W's, right? And just because we are Chicago Bears 360 and with Coach T and Swifty and Don Burrs in the chat, I'm not taking the L to the Lions. It's just like that. So there you have it. I'm giving us a dub.
I think that one would be tough. I mean, if we lose to the Lions, I feel like that one will be it. But I also feel like, and this is why, even though I did mark us an L for that one on mine when I filled out the little thing just for fun, but this point in the season, like Detroit, in my opinion, no matter what you say, Don Burr, they're not going to be playing for the playoffs. I don't think so. They might be a 5, 6, 7 win team, but I don't see the playoffs in it. So what Detroit's going to be doing there is maybe, trying to spoil us from getting in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but me and Coach, it looks like we're about on the same path here. We see us winning 9 to 10 games this
Yeah,
year,
I'm a,
going,
I'm gonna be fair,
nine
right?
and eight,
I'm
ten
gonna
and
say I'm gonna
seven.
say either that Detroit game. I'm gonna be real now. I'm gonna say that Detroit game or the Minnesota game is gonna be an L.
Yeah,
So I got us at what would that make that 9 and
about 10 and 7, I think.
10 and 7. So I
Yeah.
got 9 and 10 ball games that we win that puts us in the hunt for a playoff spot. Um, believe it or not, man, I feel like we're gonna have a good enough system and we'll have disciplined enough players that we can pull off with this schedule. Now, mind you, with this schedule, if we had a tougher schedule, it wouldn't go this way to me. But
Yep.
with this schedule, coming off last year's schedule, uh, this to me this is a 10, 9, 10. I would err on the caution to say 8 or 9 win. Pick a game that I picked us to win and give us a L. But
Yep. That's exactly where I'm at. Yeah. And I think
yeah,
obviously we're probably a tiny bit optimistic. And that's why I say
yeah. That's why I'm
our,
guessing
our
down one,
season, I
right?
see between 6 and 10 wins. Obviously, we could have a couple bad things break wrong, but I don't see us, if Justin Fields plays this year, no matter what, I don't see us getting less than 6 wins. Like, I,
Right.
I just don't, I don't see it on
Well, we
this
got six
schedule.
last year, and I'm expecting us to
Yeah,
be at least 2 to 3 games better,
exactly.
right? So
So I think
eight or
that's our
nine games,
floor. These
yeah.
guys out there saying we're going to have a top 5 pick or
Now
number
I,
one
I,
pick,
I'll,
like, they're
I'll, I'll
crazy.
go even better with you. I'd say potentially the other loss is the second Green Bay game. So you
Yeah.
go
Oh,
Green
yeah.
Bay, L there, L Philadelphia, L at Buffalo, and then you win the last 2 games, and you still 9 and something, right?
Yeah.
But you sneak into the playoffs and perhaps get another shot at Green Bay and smack them that third time. It's hard
Ooh,
to
that'd be
face a
nice.
team 3 times in the season. But
It
that's it,
is.
man. Y'all have it. Me and Swifty are somewhere between 8 to 10 wins on the season. You pick which ones. Have fun with it. Like I said, y'all know how I am with all these predictions and picks and all this other stuff, even the X's and O's breakdown. If we're wrong after all the research we do, then that means either one or two things happen. The Bears supersede our expectations, or they just tank and we need to burn the whole franchise down and start over. It's like that, man. So, what you got, Swift? What you got for us in the form of closing remarks, man? I
Man,
know
and
we've been
I
on
just want
here
to
a
I want to
while.
touch on the schedule because a lot of fans will hear that the schedule is an easier schedule or it's a harder schedule, and I think some like casual fans or fans who don't watch as much, they might not understand why. And just a simple breakdown of the schedule is we're always going to play every team in the NFC North twice, right? And then the other
Man,
divisions, it rotates. You
Swift.
play.
How do people not know that? If you've been a football fan
Man,
for
I've seen so many
any
people on it, like
I don't know,
they
but I'm
just they
saying if
don't
you've been a
get it.
football fan for any significant amount of time, how do you not know you played a division opponent twice? The NFL picks 2 divisions,
Yep.
right?
And this
Other
year our
divisions you're
divisions
gonna
we're doing
play.
the NFC East, which is bad, and that's
So we got
that's
the
what
yeah,
makes
we
the
got the NFC
schedule.
East, NFC
A-
least,
And then we got the AFC East.
East, right?
And then you also face a couple opponents because that only gets you, if you think about it, that gets you about 16 games. You face a couple opponents who are also going to be, or you got four against the teams in the NFC that
Right,
finished in the other divisions the same place you did. So we
right.
finished down in the standings, and we got the NFC East, and we got the AFC East, and that's why this schedule turns out so easy. And that's why you got those teams like the Eagles, the Commanders, the Giants, the Jets, the Dolphins, like and the Falcons. Like we just got some teams on here that we could beat. And it's one where it's not going to be this easy next year. So it's one where if we win 8 or 9 games this year, fans will be super hyped. But going into next season, if we can win that many games with this much salary cap and this young a talent on our team, it's going to be one of the best times in a long time to be a Bears fan.
It's gonna be a good time. Listen, this is one thing I didn't pay attention. How about this, Swift? We have had, outside of me just jacking things up before you got on the program, we haven't
Hmm.
had any technical difficulties, no storage issues. I didn't do nothing special, but listen to the people today. So shout out to Switcher, man, and getting me right on the show. One, and here's the thing, man. I'll close out about you know this thing with the Bears, right? Y'all want to tap in to the upcoming show. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but this is what I'm finna do, Swifty, over the next couple of weeks. I'm finna start putting together an offensive playbook on what I think Luke Getsy's gonna run, right? What I would run with the talent that we have. This is exciting to me for me because this is the fun part of coaching for me. I get to look at talent and say, hey, this guy does this, blah, blah, blah. I want to run this. So we're gonna start putting that stuff together and I'll match a player with, okay, here's the overall concept and system we're going to run. But then I'll say, okay, I would do this with Darnell Mooney, this with Velus Jones, this with Byron Pringle. Take like our top 2 or 3 wide receivers and make sure we specialize in these concepts over there. And then y'all already know how I feel like we're going to run the ball. So I'll draw up some plays. Perhaps you pull some plays from other teams and show you run concepts, gap power concepts. You know what I'm saying? I'll tease you and say, listen, I think it's going to be primarily gap power as the meat and potatoes and the identity of our run game. And we're going to mix in some toss sweeps, some Z fly sweeps, and some inside outside zone as condiments, ketchup and mustard, peas, carrots, all that other stuff to give guys, just to keep guys' eyes busy as far as defensive coordinators and stuff like that. So, but I want to show that on the show and break it down because guess what? I'm flexing my muscle and I can do it. And other shows can't do that. And I'm finna get in my bag. Now, take that, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Coach T, having a moment. Yeah, man. Like I like to separate us, bro, because people be trying to play me on Twitter, and sometimes
Yeah,
I don't
no,
like
I got it too,
it.
man. Actually, it took me an extra 5 minutes when I was after I got out of the shower. I was ready to hop on, and I saw people on Twitter are weird, man. It's like have they never listened to me? Like some of these people follow me 2 years, man. And I posted something this morning about James Daniels because he talked some smack about Chicago and how he's
Right, right.
excited to play for passionate fans and in Pittsburgh. So I tweeted something, talking some smack about him. I had this guy who's followed me for 2 years. He came
Yeah,
on and told me that I was upset and that I hated James Daniels and I need to calm down and relax and I'm freaking out. And I'm like, man, have you never heard me talk or like interacted with me? Like, I'm very calm. I'm probably the most zen person ever. If you think I'm mad or that I hate a player that I've never met, like
yeah,
you're just cuckoo, man. Like that's crazy to me, dude. It's crazy talk. Like
yeah.
you can't talk
It gets
about a
like
player without that. It's like what?
yeah, no, it gets like that sometimes. I feel like for us, for Bears DIY media, like for me, I'm not gonna go crazy until you come into my space as far as my niche, right? The thing that separates us from the rest of the channels to me is you do knockout job on the research and breaking down players personnel and again me the x's and o's. So this right here, I'm just telling y'all off rip, I'm finna take the next 2 to 4 weeks to separate us from other channels, so you don't want to miss it. I'm talking about concepts, I'm talking about football nerd stuff and designing a playbook. How do you design a playbook as an offensive play caller? Because people still don't know that about me. I have designed game plans. I have held a call sheet on a Friday night or Saturday morning, right? And understand what goes through an offensive coordinator's mind as he's calling plays, as he's putting players in positions and all that crazy stuff. So there you have it. Join us. We're going to be at it next week, same time, same bat channel. I'm Coach T. That's your boy Swifty, the top scout in the business. This is Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T and Swifty. Man, I almost tripped over my own tongue. Doing it like only we can do it. Swifty, I'll see you next week, bud.
Bear down, brother. Bear down,
Bear
man.
down, man. We out. Peace.
We out, guys.
It won't go away.